Good morning and welcome to my kitchen. It's time for episode 2. I have got 2 brilliant recipes for you. I've got my little helper here, so we're going to up the culinary skills today, aren't we? So we're going to make today a really delicious sweet potato soup. And to go with that, we're going to make a tarragon and hazelnut pesto. Now, you love pesto, don't you?
Yeah.
But you've not tried anything different other than the traditional basil pestos. So time for something a little bit different. And then after that, we're going to make some madeleines, which are a lovely little French cake, aren't they? And also your cousin is called Madeleine, so hopefully she's watching and these are for you, Madeleine. And we're going to make them all kind of funky colours, all right? And we're going to use some colourings to just have some fun, really, in the kitchen, okay? Yeah. So, soup first, need to chop the onion. So we've got onions, sweet potatoes. Do you want me to chop this one?
Yeah.
Is that in case you cry?
Yeah.
Okay, right. It has happened before. So straight through like that. And we're going to blend this soup up so we don't have to be too disciplined on how we chop this, okay? So can you put a splash of olive oil in the pan? So we're going to use the 4-litre pan. This is the cast aluminium. This is mint green, this one. So one of the new season colours. Right, can you pop those in the pan, please? Yeah. All right. And once we've got the onions in, what do we sprinkle in, Poppy?
Salt.
Good. A little bit of salt helps draw the moisture out, gets everything in there, get everything going. And then we've got our sweet potatoes. So, yeah, I mean, soup is great for using up the veg, the bottom of the veg box in the fridge. You open it up, have a look what's inside, see what you can make. So, all the sweet potatoes I'm going to chop into quite small pieces because I want this to cook quite quickly, this soup. So you can add those in, Poppy.
Okay.
And give it a good stir. Watch yourself, that's it. Right. Let's just stir that all together.
Okay.
You keep it moving. Like a soup in our house, don't we?
Yeah.
And we definitely like a pesto.
Should I have the little white handles to keep it?
I have to say, pesto, I've tried pesto with soup here. It's the first time I've ever had pesto with soup. It's actually quite a nice combination.
Yeah. I think what you tend to find, I'm just putting these little rubber handles on here so we don't burn ourselves. Pestos are really nice just to sort of cut through. I think when you have a soup, it can be very similar, very samey. Every spoon is the same.
Yeah.
And I think this recipe, it means you can make it a little bit different. Yeah. And you get a nice sort of, the aniseed flavour from the tarragon is going to come through really nice on this and just sort of break it up. The richness of the olive oil will make it sort of nice and silky. This would be quite a good one for you to take to school.
Yeah.
Sweet potato soup in one of your flasks. Okay, so, good. I'll boil the kettle. Boiled, good. So, let's get celery in. Now, celery will give you a real savoury flavour, okay, because it's sweet potato. It's all very sweet. Do you want to chop the celery?
You can chop it out.
Okay, so I'll just chop all the celery up into small pieces because we want this to cook quite quickly. Right, in it goes. And then we'll have a couple of cloves of garlic. Keep the vampires and curry away. Crush your garlic. We're going to blend the soup, so you can just chuck that in as it is, Pop. Now, I've got some parmesan here that I'm going to use in our pesto, but do you see the rind there? That's the skin, Poppy. See that? So when you buy parmesan, it's about this big, and a massive big round block of cheese. And you end up with this thick skin, and it's full of flavour, but it's not actually edible. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut it off like that, and chuck that in as a seasoning. Remember to fish it out at the end, but that will give you a really nice depth of flavour. All right? They're always worth keeping. You know, if you have Parmesan all the time in your fridge and you grate it on your pasta and you end up with the skin, put it in the freezer until you've got a recipe, risottos, stews, soups, anything like that. It's like a block of seasoning. Just add it in. It gives real depth of flavour. It's delicious. So,
Jumping out the pan.
in with a vegetable stock cube. And right, I've got a boiling kettle here, Poppy, so just step back. So I've boiled the kettle just to keep everything going. You don't have to. You can put cold in if you want. But obviously now it keeps cooking and we're almost boiling, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, so just enough liquid. It's about 2 pints there. Because you want your soup to be thick and rich and like viscous. So that lovely velvety texture that you can get from things like sweet potatoes and butternut squash, celeriac, things like that. Right, so we're on number 8. You're going to put the lid on. Take a spoon out, lid on. And we can bring that up to the boil. And while that's cooking, we'll make our pesto. Okay. You're going to make the pesto?
Yeah.
Okay, right.
I'll call you the pesto queen.
Pestle mortars. This one is such a good big size. So let's put this into perspective. Look, it's as big as a head.
It's huge.
It's big, I know, and the pestle mortar is. You just got that, didn't you? So it's important to have big, heavy one so that you can actually make a decent amount of pesto in these. I'm not a big fan of the tiny little ones because whenever I'm making pesto, I want to make enough to put in the fridge and squirrel it away for another day. So, garlic clove first, Pops.
Okay.
Can you peel that? Peel it. Get my teeth in. Okay, so if you haven't got a pestle and mortar but you've got a food processor, chuck it all in the food processor, all right? Don't worry about it. Anytime soon. No rush.
Okay.
Emily, can you speed this bit up and edit? In it goes.
Slow motion to
Oh.
normal time.
Right, teaspoon of salt.
Smash.
Smash, but just not too smashy. Yeah, yeah, that's it. Good. Now, I've got hazelnuts. These are peeled and roasted. Have a little taste of these, Pop. Try one of those, Emily. Really good. I've roasted them in the oven. So good.
Oh.
If you haven't got hazelnuts, you could use walnuts or cashew nuts. Okay, so let's add those in.
Do I smash them too?
Yeah, keep going. So just don't lift it too like this. Yeah? Pop.
Okay.
Like that. Yeah, just needs a little, and then we'll get to a point where we then start to grind it. All right? Okay.
I like doing this.
So we've got tarragon and parsley we're going to add. Tarragon fresh is it's very fragrant. It's almost aniseedy. Now, as a dried herb, it works really well, but it's very strong when it's dried. So if you haven't got fresh, use fresh parsley and a little bit of dried tarragon. I would reduce the amount of tarragon in the recipe, and I think we've written it, haven't we? So you use half the amount, so a teaspoon of dried tarragon if you can't get fresh. Okay. So I'm just going to tear the stalks away. All right, keep going.
Keep using those muscles, you.
And then we start to add in our extra virgin olive oil, and this is where we'll start to turn it into a paste. Okay? In you go. Do you want me to take over a bit?
No, I got it.
Okay.
What else do you like pestos on, Poppy?
It's nice on pizza. Pesto pasta. Basic
that your
pesto
favourite?
pasta. Yeah, that's my favourite.
Pesto pasta is her go-to. It's the first solid food she ever ate as a child. We were in Tuscany, and she was sat on her mum's knee, and she literally just sucked the pesto off Emma's pasta and left it clean. And that was her first meal. We should have known from there. It was in a lovely little town called Castellina, and it's like a circular town in Tuscany. And every street is slightly smaller circle until you get to the piazza in the middle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a really lovely city. Right, okay, so what we need to do is grate some Parmesan into there. Can you get the grater from over there?
So with this pesto, again, work with pasta and...
Oh, it'd be beautiful, yeah. Really, really nice. I'm just going to chop the herbs up, Poppy. So I've got the parsley and I've got the tarragon here ready to go in. We're going to add it last because we don't want it to get too bruised. We've got some, you know, pounding away in that to get that done. You could grate it onto here if you want, Poppy.
Okay.
And then we can add it. Now, if you want to make tons of this and keep it in the fridge, the secret is to not add the cheese until you need it. So if you're going to preserve pesto, and I was taught this by Marina, a lovely Italian lady, she said never add the cheese until you're going to cook with it. So you add the garlic, the nuts, the olive oil, you can add the basil if you're doing basil or the fresh herbs, whatever that might be, olive oil, salt, pepper, but only add the cheese because the cheese will ferment if you're not careful, and that's when it can go off. So try and do everything but adding the cheese if you're going to put it in the fridge. But we're going to use all this up. It never lasts that long in our house, does it?
No.
So have a smell of that. Can you smell the tarragon?
Yeah.
So it's like that sort of aniseedy flavour?
Yeah.
Yeah? Good. Okay, how are we doing? Should we do a bit of daddy speed?
Yeah, I'm not very fast.
There we go. That should do nicely. Okay, so we've got our cheese and our herbs. So do you want to add both of those into the pestle and mortar? Cheese first. All right, bring it up onto here.
That is perfect.
I know it's heavy, isn't it? But it's good. It needs to be. Right.
Smash.
You want me to do it or you?
No, I
You go for it. I'm going to have a little look at the soup. This is something that's really important, actually. So, with these pans, can we cut into the top? Yeah?
Yeah.
What happens is, these little dimples on the pan, what happens is, as the water is evaporating, hitting the top of the pan, they drop back down onto these little dimples, so you don't lose all your liquid, which is important when you're making a soup.
Oh, it smells lovely. You can really smell the soup.
So once the sweet potato is tender, so you just want to sort of lift it out and give it a little squeeze. And if it's not soft, then it's not ready to blend. So it's got a little bit longer to go, yeah?
How's that pesto
How we doing?
looking, perhaps?
Good, that looks good. So let's loosen it out with some more oil. And just work it through, that's good. We'll add a little bit of seasoning. We've already added salt, so we don't need to add any of that. Okay, there we go. God, you're messy. Aren't you?
Yeah.
Hey? Let's have a little wipe up. Can you lift that up for me? Come on, muscles. Be good training for rugby, isn't it? Discovered a new like for rugby, haven't you? Ish. Ish. Till she gets tackled and then she'll be like, no, I don't like it anymore. Right, in with the herbs. Run faster, then you don't get tackled. Bit of advice for you. Yeah? Yeah. Okay. Right, start mixing that. And then, as an option, everything in there is quite rich apart from the herbs. That is the only fragrance and delicate that we've got in there. You've done it. Keep going. Come on, muscles. Tiny little bit of lemon juice will just, like literally, it's probably half a teaspoon, will help just balance it all out. If you haven't got lemon juice, use a little bit of white wine vinegar. Right, Poppy, we're going to have to taste this pesto and see if it's good. Yeah? See if we need to add anything. Can you add a touch more oil for me?
Yeah.
Just to loosen it out. Go on, do a fancy daddy pour. That's it. Nice, like it. Keep going. There. Right, you're going to get a spoon? Have a little taste? Get 2 or 3. Emily might want a taste.
Yeah, absolutely.
There we go. Beautiful.
We'll call this
I'll
one
use this one.
Poppy's pesto.
It's all right, I got some. Nice. Poppy's not helping you. She's like, here's a spoon, that's all you're getting.
I'll taste it from over here. Nice.
There you go, have a little taste, see what you think. Yeah? What do you think? Nice?
Oh.
Okay, so that is our pesto done.
Yep.
Let's get rid of this. Little tidy up. No, you just move muck around. You don't actually clean, do you?
Like this.
I know.
Well, you
Right.
just get that hint of that tarragon. It's quite refreshing, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Be ready. Let's just see. Do you see how all that condensation just drips back in? That's because these little little dimples on the top of the pan. Okay, so got my new toy, cordless. Love it. Okay, so let's turn the heat off. You need to get some more spoons, Poppy, because we've got to taste it again. So it's really important your soup. You taste your soup once it's all blended up. Is that all right for you? Can you see that all right, Emily? You see how it's all going nice and velvety, and that's the sweet potato. Sweet potatoes, squash, celeriac, and pumpkin are so good for this kind of soup.
I suppose you're adding cream. You're not adding cream.
You don't need to add any cream to this. This is vegetarian, vegan. Obviously, we've added cheese to the pesto, but you can get you can get vegan parmesan now, and you don't. To be honest, you don't have to add the parmesan to pesto. If you don't want to, you could add some breadcrumbs, something like that to it, if you wanted instead.
Oh, that's good, that.
You ready for a little taste?
Yeah.
Oh, will you get a ladle as well, so we can serve this up? Because this is one of these brilliant recipes where we can just do it all in one go. Right. Have a little taste. This is where we check it for seasoning. Sweet, isn't it? Oh, you haven't tried it yet. I'm quick.
Yeah, it's really sweet.
Yeah? And because we've got like the salty, the rich. Right, let's try it in context now, okay? So this is where we try it with pesto.
Ooh.
Yeah?
I think it'd be nice.
So I'm going to make this lovely for you, Poppy. What are you laughing at?
I don't know.
You nervous?
Yeah, kinda.
Nervous when Dad cooks. It's like, what if I don't like it, Dad? So in with the pesto. So you put it in the middle, so that when you then, hang on, not finished yet. A little bit of olive oil makes it nice and silky. Yeah? There you go. So that is how you make a sweet potato soup with a tarragon and hazelnut pesto. Poppy, have a little taste, get the pesto and the soup at the same time, and then see what you really think. Let's have a little go. Me and you can taste this. We're the same family.
Nice.
Like it?
Yeah.
It's good, isn't it? Right. Unfortunately, we need to get on and make the next recipe. Okay, time to bake madeleines. Poppy wants to do this particularly because her cousin is Madeline. If you're out there watching, this one's for you. But we're going to make a really simple vanilla madeleine because once you've cracked that, you can then change the flavor profiles. We're using vanilla. You could use lemon zest. You could use orange blossom, rose blossom, espresso, chocolate. You can kind of go wherever you like. Obviously, you need a really good madeleine tin. Ours is masterclass. We know it's not going to stick. That's why we do it. That's why the team work really hard to make sure that these pieces of kit actually do what they say they're going to do. And it's my job to test them, create amazing recipes, and hey, we're off. So, madeleines, right? Have we made them before? Don't think we have we?
I've had them before.
I know you've had them. I don't think you've made them. So, I've got my almonds and flour. So it's really very much about blending the wet and the dry and getting everything ready. So we've got ground almonds and our flour into one bowl. So that bowl can go over there out of the way. Okay, so we put that back to one side. We also add the sugar as well. So that is all our dry ingredients. Okay, pop that over there. I'm just going to mix that together. Now, if you could grab me a bowl and the whisk from behind, Poppy. That is going to be for our egg whites, okay? So your job is to put the yolks in there with the melted butter and the vanilla. I want the egg whites in here, please. All right? See if she listened. Time will tell. So I'm just going to blend the dry ingredients together here, okay? So, you're all right. You're doing okay. That's perfect. So, yeah, just separate from one side to the next until all you've got left is your yolk. All right. So just even blend. A little tip for you. When you're trying to blend dry ingredients together, lift it up with your spoon and just tap it. And it'll sort of distribute it nice and evenly, particularly if you're using a small bowl. Good. Right.
You've got to think about all those flavorfuls now.
Yeah, I think there's nothing nicer than warm madeleines straight out of the oven. And I think when you use things like orange blossom and lemon, vanilla, all those nice flavours, they're really, really nice. And what you can do is you can brush them with a nice syrup or a glaze or an icing as they come out. Right, so that is our dry. I can have the egg whites, can I?
Yeah.
Right, I'll start whisking these. Little pinch of salt, tiny pinch, into your egg whites will help break the egg white down and allow it to whisk up really quickly. Do you need a bit of daddy muscle?
And you needed to move it.
No.
I would never try you.
Teaspoon. And then mix it all together. You just stuck your nose in that.
I'm smelling it and then I went.
At least it's a nice smell you've got.
I'm gonna get.
She hasn't stuck a finger in it. I used to have jars of Marmite and she used to stick her little finger in the jar because it was the squeezy jars and eat the Marmite straight out of the jar.
Did you? Poppy Sidwell.
I've never been prouder. Well,
What are you like?
right, do you want to grab yourself... in fact, I think just give it a quick whisk together, actually. I think it'll be nice. And I'll do these. Okay, so you've whisked your melted butter, vanilla,
Yeah.
and egg yolks.
Egg yolks.
I have whisked up the eggs. Can you see that?
Yeah, bring it in.
See that all right? Soft peaks. Now, the job is to get everything mixed together carefully. Yep, we don't want any more whisks. Okay, so we need a decent spoon. Poppy's gone to get me another spoon. So, madeleines is very much about trying to get all these three different textures together into one bowl. All right? So, you need to be quite patient. You can't just dump it all in and expect a lovely, delicate little morsels of madeleines. All right? So, we're going to add the melted butter, egg yolks, and vanilla into here. We're not going to mix anything. For one, until the spoon comes, which Poppy's going to get for me. And two, because we want this nice and delicate, okay? Yeah. Well done. You found one? Perfect. So a really big sort of serving spoon, metal spoon. So I'm just going to add the dry ingredients and take that last chance to get some air in by sort of scattering it as I put it in, rather than just turn it upside down like a dumper truck and piling it in. Okay? So, just rinse my hands. Poppy, I want you to turn the bowl one way and the spoon the other. Good. She listens to me. I know. I like it when you listen. It's good. Now I know you can. I'll expect it every time. That's it. So fold it all together. Come on, chop, chop. We've got all day, you know. It's not teenage speed, this. It's daddy speed. Come on. Right, move across while I do this. You do that. Right, I'm going to talk Madeleine tins. Can you see that all right there? Okay, so these Madeleine tins are really non-stick, and they're traditional. This is how you traditionally make them in this sort of, it's almost like half a shell, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, okay, so what we thought we might do is colour them up, didn't we? And make them some funky colours, okay? Because why not? So can you divide that by 3? So that's 1/3, That's 1/3 and that's 1/3, yeah? So we do some fractions as well while we're off school. Yay! Like fractions, don't you, Pop? Okay. Right. So, you could use natural colourings if you wanted. You could use matcha tea for green. You could use beetroot, grate the beetroot, squeeze the juice out for pink, and you could use turmeric. But for this one, we've done natural on another episode. I thought we'd show you the alternatives today. So, a little bit of green in there. Here's a little bit of green. All right, hang on. Let's give it a squeeze.
I'll do the blue one.
Yeah, go for it, and then I'll do the yellow. Right, so then we've got some green in there. And yellow, as Chris Martin once said. Right, and then give them a little stir. Not too much, because don't forget, we don't want to overwork. We don't want to overwork the gluten in these, yeah? So we've got some nice bright green.
That's it. Bright pink, that Poppy.
There, I think I did a bit too much. It's okay.
Yellow. The theme is garish and colourful. It's like My Little Pony. No. The Powerpuffs. See, that's something going on between you and Emily. I haven't really got a clue what you're talking about. Right, okay, so let's talk Madeleine tins, all right? This tin is lovely and non-stick, okay? So it's going to work really well, okay? It's got a traditional sort of half-shell moulding, okay? So, tiny amount in each one because you really want to underfill these because they are going to spread and fill the mould and you don't want them to spill out. So, we're just going to put like a teaspoon there in each one. If you come around this side, Poppy, and follow me with a teaspoon of that. So come around this side and follow me. That's it.
Like a tiny bit.
Yeah, so you put a tiny bit in.
Like this.
Same as what I've done, but next to it. Yeah,
Like that.
that's it.
Does it matter?
Yeah,
where?
no, it's fine, because we're going to sort of marble them together in a minute. Everything will all become clear in a minute. As I often say to you, don't I? Me, with my golden locks.
Very blonde, you know.
Very ash blonde, isn't it? Try and get it in the centre so it doesn't spill. You muck tub. Aren't you? Hang on, we're going to clash again. We're going to need to be coordinated. Use your finger, look, watch.
I am.
Watch how I do it cleanly. Okay? Press to the bottom of the spoon, push. Let it drop. It's alright, it's not going to hurt you, is it? Well, I don't want you to die either.
I blame you and them.
Okay, well. Okay, so, and then we just simply add the green at the end there. Right, okay. So, what we need to do now, Poppy, is just clean that bit off. It's upsetting me, that bit. Right. So, Pops, come here. What we're going to do is we're going to use this and just, yeah, you got it. Yeah. You do that, and then, but in between each one, clean the stick. All right? Off you go. Right, I've got the oven on at 170 degrees. Really important, preheat your oven, okay? And these will take approximately 12 to 15 minutes, depending on how efficient your oven is. I got AEG fan ovens, very efficient, so it's on the fan setting, so I know it will bake probably nearer the 12 than the 15 for us. Okay, right. They are ready for the oven. Well done, Poppy. 12 minutes. Okay, Madeleine's have had 12 minutes in the oven. They are baked and looking very... Look at these, Pop.
Oh my goodness.
Look at those.
They're
Now,
really good.
they are hot, but at the there's a little test. If you just push them, look, they come out, and look how cool they look on the other side.
Oh, wow.
Yeah? So turn them over. You just give them a little push really carefully, because they're so non-stick.
Well, normally you'd find that you'd have to let them sometimes cool a little bit, but these come up
You
straight
could
away.
probably have a little taste.
Ooh, bit hot.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, wow.
They're really soft because of the almonds. The ground almonds make the bake really nice and soft. You can try them.
Yeah.
Go for it. Cheers. Perfect with a cup of coffee. That was a little hint, Poppy. Right. If you want any of the recipes from this episode, scan the QR code along the bottom. It'll take you straight to the masterclass.co website. All our recipes are there from this series, the last series, and all of 2021. Now, thank you very much for joining us, and I will see you on the next episode.